Oh, that's just gold. That is gold.
Do tell.
So there's this thing about Scuba's art where people are drawing him as Sailor Scoobs. We've been over this.
Okay.
The person he just rated, her command to shout him out is is exclamation point Sailor, and it has different pictures of him as Sailor Scoobs.
Alrighty then.
I love it so much.
That's a thing. I'm gonna be honest. I'm having some difficulty right now processing the idea, even though the person who's been doing it is technically a part of the group but hasn't actually been there, that we finally have fan art of anything that we've ever done. And this is a new territory for me.
Wait, fan art? What? We have fan art?
Yeah. Leviticus.
Oh, that!
Yeah, that's fan art, dude.
Technically, I mean...
Like I said, he's technically a part of the group, but he hasn't been there, so he's not technically there either. So I don't know how to classify this other than the fact that it is pretty freaking awesome.
It's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. I'm a fan.
I'm supposing we've started already.
Yeah, we did. I was just letting it run.
Sounds about right.
You keep saying you don't want some sort of big flashy intro, so I just figured
it works.
And it actually worked out because
I just need to know if we've started so that I don't say things that I shouldn't say on for the whole world to hear.
The first thing that got recorded was your exclamation about whatever it was, and then Sailor Scoobs, you gave that little background, it started with your exclamation. We're pretty close to that. Yeah. So I love it. It was a great intro. It's like people were.
It was a great intro.
I was actually trying to do a different one, and then you did that. I thought mine might also be effective in that same sort of capacity, but yours was good. I liked it. It was good.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way to start other things.
By talking about other things.
Yes, exactly.
This is a kind of a weird week overall. Just lots of just weird crap happening.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, did she respond to you?
No. But it's not her fault. I don't know how to fix this. The only method that I have of contacting her, for those who are wondering, who for whatever reason this is your first episode watching this, and honestly, why would you begin watching this in general? Just bad ideas. Let alone watch the first 3 minutes.
Yeah,
but
and also not starting with episode 1.
Well, I can.
If you're going to delve in, why delve in right in the middle?
I can understand why not. You wouldn't go back to episode 1 because when you really think about it, this will be episode 8. Our standard runtime is somewhere between 2.5 and 3 hours. So it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes times 7 plus 1 extra hour for funsies. That's a bit right there. It's not quite a full day, but we're working on it. This will probably get us out there.
Ducky said we are in her YouTube cube, and I was like, why? Why? She said, but I'm kind of behind because I've been sucked into Critical Role. I said, good. That is way better than this podcast I'm doing.
Yes, that is what is called quality content. This is not that.
This is literally two guys. This is literally two guys having a conversation that you are eavesdropping on. Let's be honest.
It's like that's a dated reference, but and it's a bad reference, so let's not get too far into it. But we could have also just titled this Two Guys, One Podcast. I mean,
wow. No, we could not have. We could not have. No, not sending that message home.
I thought that was good.
No, it wasn't. It really wasn't.
But really, we couldn't have. I mean, from my mind, in case some other ill-minded person we should ever encounter in the future, we really can't name it Two Guys, One Podcast because then there'd be no room for a third person. So yeah,
precisely.
Right.
Oh, speaking of,
yes,
I was telling Broke Bud about this.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't really talked to.
Wait. First, you have to.
I'm getting there.
Why.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So I haven't really talked to Broke Butt or McDucky in a very long time. Just because I had nothing interesting to say, so why say anything at all, kind of thing.
Right.
Which Broke Butt took very offensively, by the way. I don't know why she would do that. And so I literally talked from the time that we got done with D&D today. I talked to Ducky until about noonish, and then I talked to Broke Butt for another hour to 2 hours today. So I've been on a phone call with them until about 2 p.m. from the time that we stopped at around 10 this morning.
I have an idea about Broke, but we'll get there in a second.
And anyways, so I was talking to her, and I mentioned that I would be doing this with you tonight, and she was asking me why, and I said, well, I really don't know, but this is what we're doing. We decided to do this, and we're doing it. I said something along the lines of, anybody could do it. It's literally us just having a conversation and people listening. And she said, "Is that an invitation?" And I was like,
"Wait!
No,
I have to interject here. It is not two guys having a conversation and people listening. It is two guys having a conversation and Sasquatch listening. That's what this is.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
All right, go ahead.
But she was like, "Is that an invitation?" And I was like, "No, not really. I mean, maybe, but no, it wasn't."
I'm sure if she catches up with this before you talk with her next, and she hears these first 6 minutes and hears the Two Guys One Podcast reference, she will be done. She will have no more interest if she gets that far before losing all interest. Which, let's be honest, she's going to lose interest about 20 minutes into the first episode if she even gets that far.
She has learned that I have been talking to you about her and sending you pictures of her.
Well, now it's creepy.
Not normal pictures, because she's not normal, but that's a different story entirely.
Well, that's even worse.
No context, yay.
And now, wait. You don't even understand what you just said. You just said she has a stated goal, whether she does or not. She has a stated goal of watching this entire podcast up until this point here.
She'll never watch this podcast.
But she has the stated goal.
McDucky might, and McDucky might let her listen to this part of the podcast, but she herself will never go out of her way to watch the podcast.
Okay.
I guarantee it.
All right. You did say earlier that she's just a fake nerd. That makes sense.
Yes, she absolutely is. She said that today, that she was a fake nerd.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, what was I talking about?
You're talking about showing me pictures.
I told her about, or she found out about the pictures, and so she was like, "So what are you telling him about me?" And I told her what I told you about her, that she's pretty, and that she's a dork, and that she wants to marry into someone that is called into ministry.
And we just made it. Never mind.
Yes. Hey. I'm not the one that brought it up. You are.
I know.
You've got to live with that for the rest of your life.
I thought it was funny. I still think it's funny. I shouldn't think it's funny, but I do. I'm sorry. I will repent more tomorrow. That's what church is for. We are flawed humans.
Yes. Gabby is one of the most flawed.
Not
true.
I resemble that comment. I absolutely resemble that comment.
Anyways, and I told her that she asked me what pictures I had sent her of you, and I said, well, just the one from like several years ago where we went bowling and we took a group picture with all of us. I said, just that one. And then I went, wait, no, I sent him a bunch of pictures. Never mind. I told her about all the pictures that I sent you of where we were having
might as well just open the Discord chat and let her read, you know?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I was telling her that I was sent you pictures of her when we were having conversations via video chat, and she was making weird faces and doing weird things with her hair and putting makeup in weird places on her face. I knew you were going to say something, so I had to clarify.
Okay. I'm still here, barely.
And she said, well, if he didn't run away screaming after that, maybe this might work. And then she goes, don't tell him I said that. That is not true. And I said, I said, you're not going to leave Alabama. He's not going to leave Michigan. You're safe.
Yes. That's a fair assessment. Yes. Well, aside from like foreign countries, I'm pretty dedicated to Michigan, unless something colder opens up north.
Vancouver
No,
calls.
not unless the U.S. annexes Canada. Which, why would we ever do that? Anyway,
What would you do if Canada bought Michigan?
move to Alaska. That seems fair.
Why would you do that to Alaskan?
Well, the thing is, there's a lot of extra room in Alaska, so there's room for my weirdness to exist without, infringing on other people.
Is there though?
There is. Like Alaska.
Is there though?
Alaska is the least population dense state in the Union.
Yes, but I think you're not. I'm not underestimating the size of Alaska. I think
Oh.
you're underestimating the size of your weirdness.
That's fair. I mean, the only place I think that's like more remote is like somewhere in Russia. And I mean, you did send another picture today that was from Russia.
I did.
Brought up some ideas about going on a foreign mission trip.
You are welcome.
I mean, well, that was creepy.
What about this podcast isn't creepy? You're
Um,
creepy, I'm creepy, we're creepy.
Isn't there a song about that? Something like "I'm a creep" or something.
I'm a creep, you're a creeper,
I
we're
don't know.
creepers.
Let's not do
Oh,
that.
speaking of songs,
Oh dear.
when are you going to record the song? Hello,
Well,
hold my old friend.
I was going to do that, yesterday, and then I actually had to do work yesterday, and it didn't happen.
Who cares about work?
The
Sheesh.
person
You're
paying
quitting there anyways.
the people. Well, I'm not quitting there yet, and until I have a place to go to, I would like to remain on somewhat good terms with all of them.
So have you begun actively searching
Oh yeah,
for said new place?
I've put in a bunch
Any
of
callbacks?
Not yet. The place I really want to get into, I'm assuming will actually be a little bit longer process to get into than most other places. I want to work at the post office, despite the possibility that we may not have a post office at the end of the year. But if it should persist, I think the post office is like the most conducive to my lifestyle. To say nothing of the fact that I have 3 years of working in a mailroom. So
that's a good point.
I think it's a really good point.
I can tell you right now, with your experience, I could get you a job down here if you ever decide to move further south.
Yeah, didn't we just have that conversation?
You know, if the mood strikes you for some reason, whatever.
The mood? That's the word you use? The mood? Let's just, okay, we're just gonna do it. Can you feel the love tonight? There we go. It's out of my system now. No, we're not going about the mood. I'm just Niet. Remember the Russian thing? Niet. 9.
That's
No.
German.
I know. I'm trying to think of all the different ways I know how to say no. For the few years that I was a weeb, yeah, or something like that. It's been a while.
A weeb?
Oh yeah, I was a big anime guy back in the day.
Okay, is that what weeb means?
It's like weeb is like a shorter version of weeaboo, which I'm not actually sure what it means, but the colloquial meaning is like someone who's obsessed with anime. Yeah. So, and that was me for a couple years, but I have thankfully progressed out of that.
Is anime something you just progress out of?
Well, it wasn't like I just progressed out of it. I met somebody who was also a weeb, but like way, way worse than me, and that kind of cured me of ever wanting to interact with it pretty much ever again, with a few notable exceptions, Avatar: Last Airbender being chief among them, even though that's not technically an anime.
Yeah.
There's a couple ones that like I'll go back and watch again, like Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, pretty much anything by Shinichiro Watanabe. I'll rewatch Space Dandy, a bunch of his stuff because it's all just really really good shows in general. But kind of like just that at this point.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And I probably just blew someone away, the fact that I know who Shinichiro Watanabe is. I may still be butchering the pronunciation on that because it's been a couple years again. But, yeah.
Who are you blowing away with this comment? Does Sasquatch know about anime?
You have
Is that
a good
what you're
point.
saying?
I mean, like, okay, Masters, in the incredibly, unbelievably, infinitesimally small possibility that someday, very, very far in the future, we are still doing this and it blows up big, and some poor soul thinks in their mind it would be a great idea, despite the fact that it would not be, to go back and listen to their earlier podcasts, and they happen across this, and they happen to be. Now, I understand there's a lot of what ifs in here. But in the event that all of these things magically fall into place, that person, this is for you. I know who Shinichiro Watanabe is. Although I may not know how to properly pronounce
Flash
his
forward
name.
10 years in the future. It still hasn't happened.
That's probably more true than I'd like to admit.
Yes, I came into this fully knowing and expecting and accepting that we're just having a conversation that we stick online and nobody would ever listen to. Luckily, we do have one friend, Sasquatch, who listens to everything we do. I'm fantabulous supporter of ours. No matter what we venture into, no matter what nonsensical thing we decide to come up with next, he will be there for us. And we thank you, Sasquatch.
I thank you, Sass, but I'm still worried. Because there may be some questionable decision-making processes going on that you are such a faithful listener of.
Well, he works third shift now, so
I mean,
that might have something to do with it.
I'm sure it does, which also might add more flame to more fuel to the fire that there's some questionable decision-making processes going on here. Third shift, man. I have never worked second shift, let alone third shift. I have a friend who worked third shift, and in fact still does. And
yeah, Sasquatch.
Not
just talked about him.
I mean, like
is your memory failing?
I mean, like a guy who I used to pick up and take to church 5 years ago. Okay.
No, well, you gotta be more specific.
It wasn't 5 years ago. It was longer than that. I forget. I had a 3-year gap. Anyway, actually, no, it would have been about 5 years ago. All right, okay, but I forget like how long ago that was at this point. That's weird. Anyway, so.
Well, it's been 3 years since we met, so.
It's been. I know.
No, it's been more than 3 years. It's been. Because I've been in this apartment for 3 years.
Yeah, and you did move into that apartment after we met.
Yeah, so it's been 4 years, 5 years.
I think it's more like 3.5. Because.
Hold on. I can't go back to Mixer to confirm now. Dadgummit.
I got my computer in 2017, much thanks to y'all. And so it would have been.
Okay, so it would have been early 2017 then.
Yeah.
Like January, February.
Yeah. In fact, I believe I got my computer in February 2017. I don't know precisely, but that seems about right.
No, it couldn't have been then, because I would not have given money to you that early on in our relationship.
You didn't. You gave it to Kuya.
I wouldn't have given it to Kuya that early in our relationship.
Well, you certainly did, or Sass did.
So what I'm saying is that little thing may not have happened until the year after I started watching Kuya in 2016.
That could be.
So maybe early 2016 is when we started talking through Kuya.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2017, 2018 is when we actually became friends.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
And it's been misery and anguish ever since.
I had to laugh so hard when Monkey today was talking about all the D&D campaigns that he had active on his D&D Beyond. He's like, Gavi's game of cruel misery and punishment.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I remember that one.
Yes, it ended in anguish.
It did.
But that was mostly my fault.
I think we could evenly spread that out among pretty much everybody involved, except Monkey. Monkey was like totally. He got away from that one scot free. That was a yeah. That was rough. Let's not talk about that.
Let's not.
Let's talk about other things.
Yes, other things.
Anyway, to answer your question from earlier about whether she responded back, no,
all right, that was like what, an hour ago?
we didn't even talk about that at all.
No,
it was just mentioned and immediately forgotten.
Hey, welcome to the Other Things podcast,
So,
where we mention one thing and then talk about other things.
so anyway, to catch people up, they're the girl that we've talked a couple times about before on this podcast that I have been in contact with for about 1.5 years now. A little less than that. Actually, just about 1.5 years. How about that? I haven't heard anything.
We've known each other for a long time.
What?
We've known each other for a long time.
I know.
It's just shocking every time I think about it.
I know. And then I think about how old I am, and I'm like, man, it seems like you have taken up a much larger part of my life than just 3 years, or whatever it is.
5 years. 4 years. 3 years. Yeah, 3 years.
Somewhere in there.
We'll say 3 years to be safe.
For actual voice communication.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, I know this guy, and he's trying to get this computer for this other guy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, by that point, I knew enough about you that I was willing to give you money.
That was a bad decision.
Hey, it worked out in the end for me. Look, went to Disney World with you. I get to hang out with you at least once a week. Now moving that up to 2 times a week. I mean,
3.
Come on. 3, yes, I forgot about Sundays. Speaking of, I have not thought about Sunday's campaign until literally like 30 minutes ago.
Oh.
When I thought, I wonder if I could just talk to Gavi and let's just do this tomorrow afternoon instead. And then I went, wait, I have something to do tomorrow afternoon. What am I supposed to be doing? Oh, right, D&D.
Kind of an important thing.
Yeah, well,
the whole party is counting on you.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, try and finish this off. So she sent, like, I've been trying to get something going with her for about 1 year. And there's been nothing moving, nothing happening at all. Like,
nothing's moving.
It was going.
Nothing's changing.
So a little bit more background.
Feels like Gavi.
She was overseas when we first started communicating, and when she was overseas, we were communicating like every day, very long, lengthy, in-depth messages, multiple topics, like just kind of like soul-bearing kind of stuff. And I'm like, I'm liking a lot of what I'm seeing here. Well, then she came back to the States and she stopped talking to me, basically. And so you might say that there's some mixed messaging. So I've kept it up and trying to keep in contact and getting practically nothing back. A couple weeks ago, she messages me out of this is the first message that she has sent to me without really without provocation in about 6 months or so, probably longer than that, probably 8 months, probably longer than that. And so it was like, oh, okay. Well, then I didn't respond to her because I didn't know what to say. And it was like, I was writing her off already at that point in my mind. And then I'm like, well, that's probably a bad idea just because I'm about to be 30. And that's, there's not a lot of prospects out there otherwise. So the method that we have of communicating with each other is through WhatsApp, because we started communicating overseas, and I don't know about any of the rest of you in your knowledge base, but international messaging rates and calling rates are atrocious. So we used a free app or mostly free app to communicate, which was great until she stopped using it to communicate. And also until I realized today that although I have sent a message, it is not actually getting to her device.
Really?
Yes. So you see on the picture that I sent you, Masters, the rest of you who are looking, you can bug her off. You don't need to see this message. If you see on that message, on the bottom right-hand corner, it shows the time that I sent it, and there's a single check mark.
Yep.
Well, a double check mark means it was delivered to their device. And when the double check mark turns blue, that means
they've read it.
That they've read it.
Yep. I've used WhatsApp.
It is still a single check mark.
Oh.
So I'm conflicted. Do I do the dreaded double message thing and be like, hey, I realized that my last message didn't actually go through. I'm sending another one to hope that it gets through. Please don't think I'm weird. Yeah.
And the sad truth is, she had blocked you by this point.
I mean, I've had that happen before.
And that's why it didn't go through.
Not by a girl I liked, but by someone else. I have gotten blocked before. It was nice. I
blocked a dude today. I randomly got a DM in Discord to join somebody's Minecraft server. I was like, I don't even know you.
Yeah.
So I just blocked him.
I don't get those. I'm not active enough in the community, I guess.
Me either. I literally only play solo and then on Kuya's whatever Kuya's server is at the time.
Right. I tried like 2 years ago to get blocked on Twitter by Joel Osteen.
Yeah, you told me.
Oh, well, I didn't tell anybody else.
Fair enough. You may continue. I won't conversation block you again. Well, that's probably not true.
That's not true at all. Well, I mean, it's not that much. I don't interact with Joel Osteen. I have kind of a ambivalent, not really relationship, just attitude towards him in general. I know he's out there. Ambivalent, yes.
You want to describe the word for those of us that aren't as red as you?
Okay. Ambivalent is kind of like not caring, but aggressively.
Aggressively not caring. I like that.
Yeah. It's like, you don't really...
I aggressively don't care about a lot of things.
It's like you don't care about them, but you think you might be better off if
they weren't around.
If they were not particularly as prevalent as they are.
All right, I can get behind that.
Yeah. Like he might be doing some good things, but for the majority of the things that I keep hearing, it's just sounding a lot more like it's better off without him. And that may not be the most accurate sense, but that's pretty close to my feelings about him. I don't really care, but I was just thumbing through Twitter one day, and somebody had retweeted him, and the thing that they clipped something from one of his messages.
Speaking of retweets,
yeah,
I absolutely love the Babylonian Bee retweet you did earlier.
Which was that the one about the Pope and people driving slow in the left lane?
Yes.
Yes. I like that one too. Yeah.
I love the Babylonian Bee.
They're so good. You almost have to search through now to find out the stuff that is really satire, because sometimes they'll make something up that's like they're trying to be over the top and crazy, and then like it just happens next week, and you're like,
I saw a tweet earlier this week from them that was like, Babylonian Bee predicts the future once again.
I know. Oh no, that was me too. That was me too.
Was that you?
Yes, it was. Oh, I forget
about the churches and casinos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Vegas, you're not allowed to have church, but you can attend a casino up to like 50% capacity. So a church picked up their stuff and went to the casino and had service in the middle of the casino, and I think that's hilarious and great,
hilarious
and prophetic. I'm a person who believes in the gift of prophecy, and I don't know who it is writing over there at the Babylon Bee, but they've got it. In spades, they have it. Anyway, I saw this retweet from Joel Osteen, and the thing that he was saying was it was one of those things that sounded nice. He was talking about, as you're going through life and there's difficulties and there's hardships, the people in your life who've died, who've gone on, they're up in heaven and they're looking down on you and they're rooting for you and they're saying you can do it. And I'm like, so I've heard of this scripture. It's in Ecclesiastes. It says the dead are I'm paraphrasing. What is it? It's Ecclesiastes, I think chapter 9. I have a Bible right here. I should just look it up. Please hold while Gabby's brain connects with the things that he knows. Let me see. There we go. I was right. Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 5 says, "For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything. Neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten." So he's going on about people being up in heaven, looking down on you and being like, "We're rooting for you. We're on your side." And I'm like, the dead know not anything.
Yep.
So I just question, what do you do with this verse? And I did that for like a week, and I just kept tweeting. Like, I wasn't following him, but I was catching up on his tweets, and every time he'd tweet something out that would be like, biblically inaccurate, which was about twice a day, I would post. Yeah. I would just post the contradictory scripture, and I'd be like, you got a problem here. And then I realized I was becoming a reply guy, and I don't really want to, be that kind of person, so I stopped doing it. But I was
a reply guy.
It's a thing where people make their entire online existence about replying to people who are more famous than they are. If you ever want to, if you want a really good concept of what this is, go on Twitter, look at Donald Trump's tweets, and like the top 50 tweets will have like 30 people in them who are on all of his tweets. They just reply to his tweets. That's all they do.
Yeah. I've seen those people.
Yeah. Thankfully not in real life. They seem very, very sad. So I didn't want to be one of those sad people, so I
don't think they exist in real life.
That's fair. That's fair.
Not those specific people anyway.
That is... Yeah. Finish the shot. Use words. You can do it.
That was it.
Okay.
I was ready to amend my statement depending on what you were about to say, if need be.
Okay.
But you didn't say anything, so I stopped.
I did kind of, but not really. So yeah, I was just like, I don't want to do that. But for about a week, I was very enamored of the idea of just throwing so much scripture at him that he would block me. Unfortunately, he didn't do it, and I had to get blocked by other people along the way.
Got blocked by other people?
Oh yeah, I've been blocked by like 12 people.
I don't know that I've ever been blocked, although I don't ever really comment too often on people's things, and when I do, it's usually in a tone of good, not a tone of you suck. Other than Verizon and AT&T, anytime they post something, I'm just like, yeah, no.
See, you're a Verizon AT&T reply guy.
That's true. Although I haven't done that in a very long time. I'm a T-Mobile fanboy. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
T-Mobile overtook AT&T for now becoming the number 2 cell carrier by customers subscribed in the latest quarter.
I used to have T-Mobile. I got rid of them years ago because all the places that I went to, they didn't cover.
Yeah, they are a lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
Even more so after combining with Sprint.
I may have to give them another thought.
They are cheap.
How cheap? How cheap are they?
My bill is $70 a month.
Not bad. Not bad.
Of course, I own my phone, so take that into consideration.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably a thing.
But it gets cheaper the more people you have on the line.
Yeah.
I think a family of 4 is like $30 a piece.
Yeah. That's a lot like the service I have right now. It's technically AT&T, but it's like their budget brand subsidiary Cricket.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good service overall. It just has a couple of issues with like group texts. It doesn't like them.
I don't like group text either.
I don't either. So I'm like not super broken up over the fact that sometimes my group text gets sent like 3 days later. What do you mean you didn't get the group text about the thing you were supposed to do? I didn't get it, and there's nothing I can do.
DM me on Discord.
Yes.
So I can ignore it there too.
Exactly. Group text is like okay. Texting in general. I hate texting in general.
Hold on. My grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
She'll text me about things occasionally, mostly computer problems that she's having.
Okay.
And then when I forget to respond, she comes back with, "Why don't you ever respond to my text and all this other stuff?" And so I'll go and I'll delete all of her text up until the point where she says, "Why don't you ever respond to my text?"
Uh-huh.
And then I'll screenshot it and send it back to her. I never got a text from you.
Wow, you're gaslighting your grandmother. That's not cool.
She lives an hour away.
That's wrong, man. That's wrong. Like, it's one thing if you just like straight up lie to her, but like you go through the process of deleting all the text she has up until that point and be like, no, you never sent anything to me. She's probably wondering if she has dementia, man. That's wrong.
No, she just blames the technology. You need to get a new phone then.
I'm gonna be honest. It's really funny to me when people from the South try and do an extra Southern accent to mock somebody else. That was good.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Like, you have a Southern accent, and then you're like, I got throw some extra one in here for my grandma, and.
Well, no, I am the least Southern speaking person that I know. Like, you've heard Ducky.
Yes, I've heard Broke Butt. I've heard your
You've
mother,
heard Broke
your
Butt.
father,
Yes.
your sister.
Yes. Would you say that I'm the least Southern sounding one of all of us?
You're welcome.
Huh?
You're welcome.
I'm welcome.
Yes. Do you know why you're the least Southern sounding of all the people that you know?
Oh, because all of my friends are Northerners.
Yes.
Except Kuya.
He's an aberration no matter how you cut it. Yeah. On the topic of technology and phones and such, am I the only one who just it's like there are things that annoy me, and then there are other things that annoy me like to an nth degree above that. Particularly,
that term, I like it.
Particularly when like I'm certain that your dear, sweet, kind, sainted mother would never do this. But like, you're supposed to call your ma, so I go to call my mother.
Yeah, she gets on to me because I don't call her.
And I call her, and there's no answer.
Do you live with your mother?
It doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Why you gotta call her? You gotta call her if you live with her.
You know, just because I'm in the same house does not mean that we interact. So I call her for something fairly important, kind of urgent, like, hey, I have this thing that's going to be happening in 20 minutes. It somewhat involves you. I need your feedback on this. Call her. At the beep, leave a message. Hey, why do you have a phone? You never answer your phone. Like, that is the real pandemic today, that people don't answer their freaking phone. I'm like, hey, someone, it's kind of like that, do you want to build a snowman? Would you like to answer your phone, man? Please pick it up today. I never talk to you anymore. It's like you've gone away. And because you're not picking up your phone, I kind of wish you would. Yes.
Please make that a ringtone.
No.
Except work on the lyrics a little bit, maybe.
Hey, it was freestyle. We were just running with it.
Yeah, that freestyle I paid extra for.
If you paid, you got ripped off.
That's what I'm saying.
So, but like seriously, there are people who say, "Okay, I'm going to be free from this time to this time. Please call me at this time so that we can have this conversation." Yes, call them. At the tone, please record your message. Why do you have a phone?
My favorite is at work when somebody will send me an email and I respond immediately, and then it takes them another 6 hours to respond to my email.
Oh, we had one at my work a couple weeks ago that almost got people who weren't okay. Let me just set the scene for this. So, we have this thing come in the morning. I work at a law firm that involves a lot of settlements and things like that. So there's a lot of checks that go back and forth. I'm not part of the accounting department. I'm the people who handle the checks midway. So the requests come in, we forward it to the accounting department, like we're supposed to do, exactly the way we're supposed to do it, according to the process, the system, everything is in place. We have done our due diligence until the accounting kicks it back to us. We do this like 10 o'clock in the morning. At 4:30 in the afternoon, we get a message from the attorney like, "Hey, have you guys gotten this check from accounting yet?" And I'm like, "No, I totally forgot all about it because we did everything that we were supposed to be doing. Let me call them." So number one, I call. Nobody picks up, of course. So I did some finagling. I found out where they were, and I called somebody's cell phone. Somebody finally picked up their cell phone on the third attempt. And they're like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Hey, we got this check that needs to be mailed out tonight. We got 10 minutes to get it in the mail. Where is it?" "Well, we didn't get anything." "Have you checked the accounting inbox today?" "No." "No? Really? Isn't that your job? You are the accounting department." If we miss an email by like an hour, somebody's not necessarily getting fired, but they're going to get a stern talking to. If we miss it by a whole day, somebody's not working there tomorrow. It's kind of an issue.
Mm-hmm.
And the county department's just like, oh, I guess there is an email. It's been in there, it's a couple hours. When did you say this? You need this? Well, at this point, in 7 minutes. It has to leave the building in 7 minutes. Oh, well, I don't know if we can do that. Anything you can do to make this happen would be fantastic. Just amazing. I would love you. Because I won't work here tomorrow if you don't get this stupid check in the mail.
So I had something similar happen to me this week. Some equipment came in roughly a month ago. July 7th is when it came in. July 1st? July 1st it came in. When it came in, they said, "Hey, this is here on a temporary basis, just letting you know." I was like, "Sweet. We'll keep track of where it's at and it'll all be good."
Mm-hmm.
I get an email last Friday, "Urgent. We need this taken care of now. This stuff is now ours and we need it signed over to us." Okay, no problem. I'll get it to it Monday. Monday, I send out an email first because they sent it to me, after I left Friday.
Right.
Or after I was supposed to leave. I was actually still on my computer, but I was done for the day. So Monday I get in, I send off an email to get the process started. They send back and say, "Okay, hey, here's what we need." And so I email them and say, "Hey, they need this." And they said, "Oh, you need this? We sent, this was sent, forever ago."
Mm-hmm.
But, well, this is the first time you've sent it to me, the correct person to send it to, so no, you didn't. So I sent it in. I said, "Hey, is this what you need?" And the guys processing it said, "I think so. We'll get back with you if we need anything else." So Tuesday comes along. Turns out that some of the equipment needs to go on a separate thing. So we need to split up the paperwork they sent us. to be 2 pieces of paperwork instead of just one.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, no problem. So I emailed the guy that needed it done. I said, hey, this is what we're going to have to do. I can do up the paperwork, just get them to sign it, or they can do up the paperwork and sign it and send it to us, whichever way is good for you.
Right.
No response. About lunchtime, my big boss comes and emails me, hey, this is a thing I need you to take care of immediately. It needs to be done ASAP. And
Gotcha.
I emailed him back and said, hey, I've already got the process rolling. I just emailed, so-and-so. They haven't responded to me.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 hours later, right before I was about to leave, he finally sends an email to the people and says, hey, this is what we need to do. Get it done. We can get it taken care of. And so I come in Wednesday morning to like 6 emails from these guys saying, okay, we're taking care of this. Didn't hear anything else all day Wednesday. Thursday, I come in to a buttload of emails because after I had gotten offline, I got offline at like 3. Well, at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, they start sending emails. Hey, here's the updated paperwork. Can you get this taken care of now? And
Right.
of course, I'm not there. So I get when I get there Thursday morning, there's a slew of emails saying, hey, contacting, bypassing me to go to my other boss, and going over my head basically, which he doesn't care if they do things like that. But they worked through the background and got everything done, and they were like, okay, we need to get these barcoded.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go into work and get them barcoded. And it literally took me longer to drive than it took me to actually be in the building.
Yep.
And so I got that taken care of. They got that in the system. Then the other set of stuff they had to get in the system, they had to do it differently. And then they had to get that stuff barcoded. So they did that Friday. And they got it all done within a week. But this could have been done over a month ago if they had contacted me, directly instead of contacting my coworker, who is he works there.
Know those people.
Well, I can't even say that. He gets paid.
Okay.
Work might be a strong statement for what he does while he's on the clock. But yeah, it was this whole hubbubaloo that has to. This should have been done weeks ago. Well, it would have been done weeks ago had you told me about it.
Yep.
And it could have been done even sooner had you responded to my emails.
Yes. I really think there's a lot to be said for the added communicative factor of being able to actually talk with somebody. And I know that sounds like I'm biased because I'm making a voice podcast right now with my buddy Masters, but
No, I absolutely hate voice communication. I would much rather, because I have trouble making the words, which is why I'm 90% silent on this here podcast.
as the man who just spoke for 5
And
minutes.
when I do speak, it's not very cohesive a lot of the times.
That was a very
and I stumble
cohesive
around.
story.
Huh?
That was a very cohesive story you just told for the last 5 minutes.
Anyways, so when I go to written forms of communication, I have a little bit more time to think things out, and I can get it sounding proper, the way I want it to sound, rather than the way it sometimes sounds when I just speak. Which
Go ahead.
which also translates over to chatting in Twitch streams, because often I will just, whenever I have a thought come through my mind, and then it's riddled with misspellings and incorrect grammar, and it irks me to no end. But it's like, it's Twitch chat; it'll be gone in 5 seconds.
Well, here's the thing. In terms of proper wording, I believe you're correct. But in terms of actual communicative value, I disagree wholeheartedly. I can also craft something in a written format which would put to shame any wordsmithing I could do of my own in real time, sentence forming ability. But in terms of the actual communicative value of being able to express an idea quickly, efficiently, and to correct any misunderstandings which may be present.
Okay. So let me clarify.
Mm-hmm.
I agree to a certain extent. If it is in-person communication, I agree. Over the phone communication, I hate it with a passion.
Let's say over the phone communication in general, I'm not a fan of. But if I'm given the choice between texting or calling someone, I would much prefer to call them. I understand if you need like a yes/no question, or hey, what time should I get there, or even now where you can just link an address or something. Where am I going? I got that. Fine, text is great. But I'll get people who are asking me like my opinion on something, and I'm like, you don't understand who you're talking to.
It's complicated. yeah. Anybody that asks you for your opinion on anything and wants you to write it out, they must be avid readers.
Particularly people who send this to me like on my cell phone.
Yes.
That is one of the world's fastest way to make me not like you.
Yes. So that is why I absolutely love that I can now text from my phone via my web browser.
Uh-huh.
I love it so much because I can hammer out a good chapter of a book in about 15 seconds or so. I mean, not really, but you see, I can type a lot faster than I on a keyboard and mouse. Well, you don't really type with a mouse, but you get my point.
Yeah.
Than I can otherwise.
See, this is how the whole communication thing was working with me and the girl that I was talking about in times past, or earlier in this episode, because I discovered that I could access WhatsApp through their web application, and then I actually downloaded the computer app, which was life-changing because then I could just type indefinitely, and it's me, so I don't ever do anything in short form. Ever.
Nope. Can agree.
For those of you who are wondering, we are now entering the 53rd minute of this podcast. And we're still going strong.
It's only been 53 minutes, really?
Not even quite that. We're about 52 and a half right now.
Wow. It feels like it's been a lot longer.
I know. That's me. But so if they were translated from or transferred from WhatsApp to a word processing program, my average response to this girl while she was overseas was about 5 to 6 pages that I would respond to her every single day.
Can confirm. I have seen the messages.
I
have not read the messages, but I've seen him scroll through the messages.
Yes, you've seen parts of the messages.
He was like, hold on, let me show you this that she sent me. 5 minutes of scrolling. Oh, here it is.
What are you scrolling through? Well, my response. What'd she send? Not that much. So
3-minute eloquy of how he thinks the pickle should taste. Her response, KK.
No. That would have been like an immediate red flag. We cannot proceed any farther. Anyone who responds, and I almost killed you earlier because you responded to me KK, and I'm like, I'm going to kill you. I respond
KK all the time.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that. I hate that. Like,
it used to bother me because I was like, KK, why is everybody doing KK? And it's just faster than doing OK.
I know.
It's just faster.
I don't care.
Just faster.
I don't care.
It's just faster.
I so don't care. Like, I will type out the full word OKAY every single time until the day I die because I can't do it. I cannot do it. Like, remember the exact same line that we were just on about how the phone keeps taking away progressive levels of communication. That is like the lowest possible denominator of communication, short of just sending me an emoji. At which point, I might actually drive to where you are and kill you. But
I have responded to you with just an emoji before.
You're lucky you're 8 hours away.
I am 10 hours away. Thank you. I have looked it up.
Okay. Oh. Why did you look that up, sir?
I like road trips.
So do I. That's the one thing okay.
Oh, Speaking of,
I
by
hate
the
playing.
way,
Yes.
I am planning on driving to New York, hopefully sometime early next year, uh, and yeah, that's the thing I'm doing. Just letting you know.
Why? Why would you
Well,
drive to New York right now? Or I mean, not
well,
not.
I'm going to
Uh, okay,
I'm
not
going to
right now.
drive
But
through.
go ahead. I'll try and
I'm
stop
going to I'm going to drive
one of these days.
through D.C. And stop and visit the Smithsonian's.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go up to New York and watch a Broadway play, and
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to drive home.
That actually sounds like a lot of fun. DC is great. I am sad I only had one day to be in DC when I was there
I had
last year.
1 hour to spend at the Smithsonian's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how do you visit the Smithsonian's for an hour?
I didn't even get that in the Smithsonian. I walked past the Smithsonian. I had one day to be in Washington D.C. I'm like, I'm going to every big monument I can get to, and the Capitol building.
No, I didn't go to any monuments
I walked the
because
entire National
so
Mall in one day.
we went there for a missions trip.
Uh huh.
We got there a little early, which is why we got to go to the Smithsonian.
Wait a second.
So we went to the Smithsonian.
I just got to interrupt you for just a quick second. You said you went to Washington D.C. on a mission trip, right?
Yes.
I don't think you were very effective. Have you heard?
It wasn't to see the politicians, so maybe we should have started there.
It seems to be the biggest place where the need. That's where the need is the strongest in Washington.
You're not wrong. So we went a little early, and we went to the Smithsonian for an hour. Barely made it through half of 1/4 of one exhibit.
Yep.
And we left and went to where we would be staying. And then we did all of our outreach, and we worked at soup kitchens and places like that. And then the day that we were supposed to have that was arranged as being our exploratory day,
Mm-hmm.
where they would take us around to different monuments and stuff like that to pray and whatnot,
Yeah.
got canceled because one of the other churches that was there at the same time as us decided that their kids were too tired to get up the next morning and go to the soup kitchen. So our church filled in for them. So we didn't get to do that. So we didn't really get to go anywhere. One night we did get to go to the Lincoln Memorial.
Uh-huh.
No, it wasn't the Lincoln Memorial because I don't think we got to see the Lincoln Memorial. It was the other one, Thomas Jefferson Memorial, maybe?
Jefferson Memorial? Yeah, I don't think I got to the Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah, the one that's just like a Greek.
Yeah, I think that's the Jefferson Memorial.
Yeah, I think it's. So we got to go there, and we spent a couple of hours around there just hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
We took some pictures and whatnot, just to relax a little bit. But that was all we got to do. That wasn't soup kitchen. We went and helped out at an orphanage. We went and helped out at a not-for-profit daycare center and hung out with some kids.
Okay, Masters, we get it. You're a good person.
Doing stuff like that, But
my trip to Washington was nowhere near that altruistic. Should have been. I also
that was my third mission trip that I've ever been on. I've also been to Chicago and done the same thing,
mm-hmm.
and to Mexico, where actually in Mexico we actually stayed at an orphanage the entire time we were there.
Right.
And just helped them out around the orphanage. We rebuilt their playground that was decaying. We helped clean out their closet that was like so disorganized that you couldn't even get in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody literally had to crawl through a window and push through the other side to get in there.
Wow.
And then we completely emptied it out and redid the closet. And then we went to this place. I forget what they called it because that was 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was the city dump is what it was, but they called it something else, and it's where the poorest of the poor lived. And we went there and did some ministry, and then gave out bags of rice and beans.
Right.
Um, and those 3 trips will stay with me for the rest of my life.
Exactly how that goes. I mean, I've been on a couple mission trips as well. Um, most of mine were overseas. There's a couple in this. I think there's really only one in the States. I would classify as a mission trip actually. Um, but the ones that I've taken have all been profoundly impactful. In general, whether you have whether you have a charitable or a Christian bone in your body, if you don't have either of those, I still recommend that all Americans leave the country for at least a month at some point in their life, just to get a good taste of what we got, by getting a good taste of what other people don't got. I think that's a good way of putting it.
Well, it's a crude way of putting it, but it works.
It works. I think it's the most what's the word? Word frugal way of expressing a good point. I have a friend who is a self-described socialist, and she and I don't necessarily.
You have a friend that's a socialist?
I have a friend who's a socialist.
I can't believe that sentence is even possible.
It's more of like a work friend, so we're put together by happenstance, and we can't get rid of each other yet.
Ah, got it.
But I mean, I'm very cordial.
I classify my friends very, very differently.
Like,
you just recently made it into the best friends category.
I know it was Disney that did it.
It was actually, yes.
Someday, if I ever do face reveals, we'll have to post the progression of those pictures because it's amazing.
Yes, but we have to post them in the order that makes sense.
Yes.
Not the order they were actually taken.
Yes. That is honestly one of the best pictures I've ever had in my life. Just great. Anyway.
I love it so much.
Anyway, so
don't go breaking my heart.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, so she was saying that she was potentially going to go with her boyfriend down to like Cancun or something. And I'm like, okay, you're not really going to you can go to a third world country and not really go to a third world country.
Yeah.
Because they will have areas that are built up to attract first world tourists, and those areas will be
for
immaculate.
the money.
Yes. Yes. And the locals really aren't allowed there. I know, because I've been to those places, and I've been out of those places in those places where those places are.
Yep.
When I was in China, I went through a place that I was explicitly told, do not take any pictures in this area. And I said, why? He says, the guy I was with is like, because if you take any pictures, you may not be going home. And I said, okay, well, that's great news. And I'm going to leave it at that because China has clearly got their fingers in everything these days, and I'm sure they would love to know that I didn't necessarily agree or follow that directive. And I may or may not have some pictures that they don't want me to have. But that's a whole other story.
Interesting.
Oh, yes.
I'm intrigued to see these pictures now.
Well, they may or may not exist. I will neither confirm nor deny their existence in any sort of public capacity.
You just don't leave the country again. You're fine.
I can leave the country, just can't go to China. Which, fortunately, my friends are no longer there, so I don't really have a reason to go back there again. And less of a reason all the time. But
I really want to go to Hong Kong, but not right now.
I don't really think Hong Kong counts as China. I'm really hoping that Hong Kong doesn't count as China.
Hong Kong Disney specifically.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, I want to go to all the Disney places.
I'm
Shanghai, Hong Kong, France.
I've been to Shanghai Disney. Shanghai Disney is the least exciting Disney park I've been to, even below Epcot. And Epcot was
Epcot was under construction.
I know.
Okay.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that Epcot, when I was there, being fully under construction, being the least interactive one of all the parks that we were able to be there, that we were able to like be at in Disney World, I would rank Shanghai Disney as it was when I was there a couple years ago, beneath the level of fun I had at Epcot. except for
That's
their
just because you were there with me.
except for their Pirates of the Caribbean ride, which is so much better. Oh, it's so good. Despite the fact that I couldn't understand what Jack Sparrow was yelling at me in Mandarin.
It was probably just yo ho,
No,
pirates like
there was like a full story, like a progressive story.
Oh,
Like the Pirates of the Caribbean that you know and enjoy, and it's good, is nothing at all like the Pirates of the Caribbean ride that is in Shanghai Disney. There is a boat.
yes, I'm aware. I've seen the video.
There is some water. Those are where the similarities end. There are pirates, I guess, so there's three things. And then it just goes straight on like full ultra Hollywood cinema and a screen that is bigger than IMAX, and it's just like, I am under the ocean and there are sharks and a squid, and that's the Kraken, and there's Davy Jones, and look, there's an entire armada of sunken ships rising to the surface. Oh, I guess we're one of them. This is amazing. I can't understand what any of these people are saying because I don't speak this language. I want to go on this ride again as soon as we get off. And then we did. It was wonderful.
So what you're saying is we need to start studying Mandarin now.
Boo-how.
All right, I'm going to take that as a resounding yes.
That is actually Mandarin for no.
I know. That's why I said that.
Or at least that's Mandarin
that is
for roughly no.
Yeah, that is pretty much the only word of Mandarin I do know. And that is because of that one Disney show that has Asian kids in it. That it's kind of like Dora the Explorer, except it's Asian kids and they speak Mandarin. I don't remember what the name was.
Was that like no? That couldn't have been that. That must be something else. Because as soon as you said that, like the only thing that popped into my mind was like the shape of Dora the Explorer, and there was this really like cocaine fueled show on Disney Channel years ago called like Hi Hi Puffy Yami Yumi or something like that. But I'm pretty sure that was Japanese, not Chinese. I think. And I really hope that that's not what you were talking about.
No.
Also, we can't have our kids in America learning Chinese, that commie language. What's wrong with you people? And so fast. Sass, don't report us. I'm sure even the review guy is going to be like, 10 minutes in, he's like, no, I'm not watching any more of this. Just pass it on. Oh, that's bad. Oh yeah, we were talking about China going overseas, being part of things. Yeah. I was actually about to get to the story about when I was in Washington. Wow, that was 20 minutes ago.
Was it though, or are we just trying to make it seem like we've been talking forever? It's actually only been about an hour.
Now
it's been about 5 minutes.
It's been a little longer than that, I think.
No, because it was 8:53 my time when you said it's only been 53 minutes.
Okay. It is. So it's been 15 minutes. Close enough. I said 20. You said it's 15. It's fine. Anyway. So the Washington. I was also going there for religious reasons. A friend of mine was graduating from Bible college. That's where this graduation ceremony was going to be taking place, as well as this little ministers conference kind of thing. And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I'll go down with you, because he had never been out of the state of Michigan before. And so we drove from Michigan to Washington a little bit faster than the GPS said we were supposed to. But not as fast as
of course, if you were Gavin.
But not
if you were driving.
But not as fast as when we drove back. We drove all the way from Washington to North Detroit in 8 hours and 46 minutes or something like that. we were booking really fast.
Yeah. So it's to get to Washington D.C. from where I live, it's about the same distance as going to Disney World from where I live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's just because Florida's so long.
yeah.
Anyway, so we go there for this ministers conference thing, and they pass out the schedule.
I don't know what that has to do with anything, but my
Oh.
brain told me to say it, so I did.
All right, yeah, it's another thing we can talk about. I guess we did. We're done.
That's it now. Moving on. Next.
In preacher talk, that's for free. Anyway, so
you act like we have notes.
So I get down there. You act like I have notes when I preach. Boy, are you in for a surprise. So
I do. I've seen some of them.
You have? Oh yeah, I guess you have.
No.
You haven't?
You've told me about them.
Oh.
You've told me about them. I haven't actually seen them.
Okay. I mean, they're not really a secret. But anyway, so we get
I didn't
there.
think they were, but I was making a point
What was the point? Because I don't know what it was.
that I've seen them, that you actually do have notes.
Oh, okay. That's fair, I guess. Maybe. Anyway,
Okay.
we get down to Florida. We get down to Washington, and they hand out the little itinerary for everything that's supposed to be going on. And we didn't really pay that much attention to it when they first handed it out, but we wake up the next morning because we get a phone call from them, and they're like, "Hey, why aren't you guys here?" And we look at the time, and it's 4:30 in the morning, and we're like, "Why aren't we where?" 4:30 in the morning. We're exactly where we should be, in bed. Why are you calling us? And they're like, you need to look at your itinerary. And so we looked at the itinerary, and they had us booked every single day we were supposed to be there from 4:30 in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Why?
I don't know. And so we're like, okay, we'll be right there.
Doing what?
I might actually still have the itinerary somewhere within relatively close arm's reach.
Like, if anybody hands me an itinerary of that magnitude, I'm gonna laugh and hand it back to them. I don't care what it is.
Is it? Okay.
Unless you're paying me a stupid amount, it ain't happening.
Okay, so nope, I was wrong. It's from 4 o'clock, not 4:30. 4 o'clock until when is the last one? Until 11 o'clock at night. So, 4 o'clock is what's mentioned, put down here as daybreak with the king, which is just basically a prayer session. 7 o'clock is breakfast. 8 o'clock is the morning session. It's all broken up into different areas. 8 o'clock until 11:30 or noon. They're not really sure which one, in case someone runs over in time, is when that is from. And then 12 o'clock to 1:30 is lunch. 1:30 to 2:30 is the afternoon business session. 2:30 to 3:30 is a roundtable talk with the members of their governing council. 3:30 to 4:30 is their graduation ceremony. I guess there was an hour and a half time that we weren't scheduled, where I guess you were supposed to take a nap or just try not to, pass out completely. Because at 6 o'clock was dinner. 7:30 was the night session, and those all ran until 11 o'clock at night or later. And we did not realize this when we went down there. And my friend had never been out of Michigan, and he's like, I want to see Washington. I'm like, I don't care if you want to see Washington or not. If you want to stick here with all these guys, you go stick with them. I'm going to go walk around Washington, D.C. Because I've been trying to get to it. Because at that point, I've been trying to get to Washington for about 10 years. It was supposed to be my graduation trip, and then it never happened. So, and I'm a big American history guy, and I love American history and culture and everything else. And so I'm like, I want to go to Washington, D.C. And so we played hooky
I can understand that.
And so we played hooky for a full day, and we walked around the entire National Mall. and saw pretty much every single monument. I think the only one we didn't see was the Jefferson Memorial because it was kind of like out on this little peninsula
Wait. You only played hooky for a day?
A day.
As in for the rest of the time, you got up at those obscene hours and stayed awake for those obscene hours?
No. Don't put words in my mouth. I said we played hooky for a full day. The rest of the next day, we were dead. Because I'm going to put this out here. If you go to Washington, listeners, Sasquatch, if you go to Washington, you should not try to do the entire National Mall in a day. Break that up into two. No, you shouldn't. Break that up into 2 days minimum.
That's like trying to do Disney World in a day.
Oh, I know. Apparently, there are people who have done it. I can only imagine what they looked like the second day. Because I almost died doing this in Washington. But I'm like, this might be the only time I get to come to Washington, D.C. I am going to see everything I possibly can. I can't go to the Library of Congress, don't have time for that. Can't go to the Smithsonian, don't have time for that. Can't go to the Supreme Court, don't have time for that. I'm listing off the stuff I can't do. I'm like, okay, these are the big monuments. We're hitting every single one of these. Let's go. And we just ran. And at about 7 o'clock, it was 90 degrees all day long, direct sunlight. I was like full on heat exhaustion, like dragging myself up the steps of the Capitol building because I'm like, I want to get one picture up here. And yeah, that was my Washington experience.
So since I brought up Disney World again, I just want to mention to you that I actually have not ridden Rise of Resistance yet. Just so you're aware. If you didn't already realize that.
I didn't know that. Although I should have put it together because you only went to Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
I still don't want to hear what was in the video that you've seen.
Well, I'm going to tell you anyways. Amazingness.
We're going to turn this off right now.
Yeah. That's it. Amazingness. That's what was in the video.
Okay.
Like, I audibly gasped while watching the video. I can't imagine when I actually go.
I want to go.
Now, my father and my sister have ridden it several times already, and they can tell you all about it in detail.
There's a reason I don't talk to them.
Yes, this is the reason you do not talk to them.
I didn't say it was the only reason. I just said there is a reason. That was kind of that's the thing that has me kind of messed up about this year. So the last three years, I have had an opportunity to take some sort of ridiculous. Actually, really, the last 5 years, I've had an opportunity to take some ridiculous. 6 years? 5 years. 5 years. I've had an opportunity to take some sort of ridiculous trip. Yeah, like whether it's driving, flying, in the country, out of the country, doesn't matter. Last year it was New Hampshire with Kuya and Monkey and D-Mill and Piratic, and that was a fantastic trip. It was a lot of fun. And then it was over to down to Disney World with you in November. Year before that, it was Washington. Year before that, it was year before that it was Shanghai. Year before that it was Greenland. Year before that it was Minnesota. So yeah, cool.
Lucky.
Hey, but this is my problem. I really, really, really like those big, audacious event trips, like something you kind of plan your whole year around. Because you don't just like randomly wake up on a Thursday and be like, hey, let's go to Shanghai. That sounds like fun. I'm going to tell you, if that is something that you're doing, number one, you're stupid. You shouldn't go to Shanghai right now. Not just because of the Rona.
That's all I gotta say. There are no words. It's just laughter.
Number two, it's not going to work out quite the way you think it is because there's a lot of red tape you have to get. Wow, I didn't mean for there to be a communism joke in there, but I guess there is. There's a lot of red tape you have to go through to get there. And you're going to be about 3 months in the process of getting approval to go there. And they're going to want to know every single thing you do while you are there. I mean everything, and they will know if you deviate. Again, there's a place that I was in that I was not supposed to take pictures. That I cannot say whether I did or whether I didn't. But if people find out, if people had found out while I was there, not good things.
All right, Steve Buscemi.
I wasn't going for Buscemi, but I'll take it. Yeah, so it's like, I like these big...
That was almost Steve Buscemi doing Kermit the Frog.
I really wasn't going for that.
And now that I said that, you'll never be able to beat that voice again.
No, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it again by accident because that was how it came out.
True. Fair enough.
Oh. But this year, I can't go anywhere.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I'm like...
I feel you.
Well, you don't feel me. You went to Florida.
Yeah, that didn't count.
I know, because you just stayed in the room the whole time and did nothing. But
I could have saved... Well, I say I could have saved a lot of money. I didn't spend hardly any money. So, I mean, realistically, my money out of pocket would have been about the same. I did pay for the hotel on the way down there.
Right.
But other than that, it was just, I could have just stayed at home. I should have just stayed at home.
I was about to make a joke about you being a scrub and paying for a hotel on the way there. But I cheated and stayed at Kuya's house. So, I mean...
Well, it was also not just me. It was me and, 16 other people.
Oh, don't worry. If you had stopped at Kuya's house with 16 other people, his grandfather would have found a place to put them all and told you the story about how each and every one of those places had come into being.
Yeah, because he built the house, didn't he?
He built the house, and now Junior did not build the bed, but he does know the man who did. And that was several years ago, and he also remembers the fellow that he took the bed to the one time because it got a little ding on the side, and he had to get that buffed out and refinished and kind of rebuilt back up a little bit. And that man, he had a friend. I mean, like, this is exactly what happened. I was standing there like dead tired, trying to go to bed.
Kuya's grandfather sounds amazing. I want to meet this man.
He's so great. Oh. If you do make that 10-hour trip up to Michigan, you have to stop at Kuya's house and just talk to Junior for, like, I would say 10 minutes, but it's more like 3 hours. So,
I absolutely plan to go and just randomly visit Kuya at some point.
Oh, it is
just
a trip.
For a weekend, just go down there and be like, hey, I'm here.
Oh,
what are we doing? I brought my computer.
If you go on the weekend, it's even better because get him to take you on the church bus route in the morning, on Sunday morning. Oh, there is a sight that is forever ingrained in my mind, which shall always be there, and I will treasure till the day that I die, where we pull up to this ramshackle house on the side of the mountain, and I'm looking at the house, expecting like kids to come out or something, and we're waiting there for a couple minutes, and nothing happens, and he honks the horn, and as ramshackle as the house was, there is this shed over on the other side that is leaning like more than 45-degree angle leaning. No supports, no visible supports anywhere to keep this thing up. The door opens sideways upward and like 9 kids pile out of this little thing, which was apparently where they just lived as opposed to the other ramshackle house, which wasn't quite in that bad a repair. And they just like walked up, and it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. I'm like, it was the most Kentucky thing I think I could have possibly imagined, and it was so much more than that. Yeah, it was truly epic.
Oh,
it was, yeah. I will never forget it for as long as I live. And that alone is worth going on the trip to pick up all the kids. Well, that and
forget Disney World. Let's go see Kuya.
That and the van. The van is the stuff of nightmares.
Kuya got a new car, by the way.
Oh, I didn't
New to
even
him
know
car.
that.
Yeah, he got it Thursday.
What'd he get?
He bought Mithril's car.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what car Mithril had, but
Me either. I just know it's new to Kuya. He said it had to get he had to get new brakes on it and a few other things, but it was better than the car he has, which I could imagine because I've seen that car.
I'm sending you a picture of the van. I had
Have
to
a
take a picture
of the van.
I have a picture of the van. It doesn't really do it justice because you can't see the holes from the inside. But
Oh, I've been in vans like that
it's a trip. I'll say that.
in Mexico.
In Mexico. Did the oh, I can't make that joke. It's racist. um Did it have the stereotypical Mexican horn?
It did not.
Oh, that's sad, really.
No. Although a rat ran by while we were driving down the road. That was weird.
Oh, that was the moment I realized my mother could not have made it in Greenland, because my mom has talked over the years about going on some mission trip with me. Maybe every time I go.
You missed the reference.
I didn't miss the reference, but I was trying to go somewhere else. I stepped off the boat.
Why are you so slow? But sir, my name is Slowpoke Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite episode ever.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite line of Looney Tunes ever.
Mm-hmm. 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 You just weren't gonna let it go, were you?
I wasn't.
Yep.
I love it. I love Speedy Gonzales.
I'm so glad I was just an intellectual who liked Marvin the Martian.
Oh, Marvin, that rabbit stole my accelerator.
No. Nope.
He did steal my accelerator.
No.
He did.
The rabbit stole a Illudium PU-38 explosive space modulator.
Okay, that's more accurate. I don't know the actual words.
I know the words. What I do. Anyway, so I get off the boat in Greenland.
You know all the words.
Not all of them, but most of them. Get off the boat in Greenland, and I see these two kids like sitting on a park bench, and they're playing with something, and I'm not sure what it is. So I kind of get a little closer, and it's a rat. just a straight up rat, and they're playing with it like nothing's wrong. And I'm like, yep, right about here is where my mom would get back on the boat and go home.
Well, when I was in Mexico, I played soccer with a kid, and he thought it was funny that I wasn't any good at soccer. But he was also impressed that I could like not juggle the ball, because juggling a soccer ball is like insane. But like I could do the thing where you like stick your foot on top of it and then roll it back and then you kick it up.
Yeah.
Instead of bending down to pick it up.
Yeah.
He thought that was cool.
Uh-huh.
And then he tried to do it the rest of the day. But he's too tiny.
I may have missed it. Where was this kid at?
Mexico.
Okay. I was about to make an even worse joke.
I said I was playing soccer with this kid while I was in Mexico.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I didn't quite pick up that part. My mind immediately just cut off the Mexican part, and he was laughing about you not being good at soccer. And I assumed that he was in Mexico, but I didn't really hear that part, so I wanted to confirm before I made a joke. And then as you were explaining the joke, I realized the joke that I was going to make was not going to be good.
Kind of like the joke you were going to make earlier.
They get worse. Just worse as the day goes on. That one was kind of a comparison as to what, he might be giving up to be good at soccer versus what you have to not be good at soccer. Yeah. I need to install a filter at some point.
Wait, I'm confused. I don't understand what joke you were trying to make now.
Like, well, okay,
I'm not. Joke?
No, it's like, well, hey, I may not be good at soccer, but at least I have air conditioning. And
they had air conditioning. Not in the room they let me stay in, but they had air conditioning.
Oh.
Actually, no, they did have a window unit. It just was not powerful enough for the room size.
Mm-hmm.
And the heat.
that was a major point of contention on Monday. So I am transferring everything. I mentioned this to you earlier. I am transferring churches, first and foremost. To accommodate that, I am going to be moving to a new house. And to accommodate that, I am going to be changing my job soon. And so Monday I went around with the pastor of the church, which is kind of weird to me. I'm kind of weirded out. I've never had a pastor this involved in any aspect of my life. I'm used to like calling the pastor in like desperate need and being like, "Hey, pastor, I need to work on this," and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I'll get to that. I'll get you on the schedule. Does February next year sound good to you?" Pastor, it is February. I know, but next year. Whenever you can squeeze me in, let's do it. Not quite that bad, but it's it's hyperbole for the sake of the story. And so it's like, okay, I'm not used to this level of involvement, and it wasn't like I had to go search him out. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna go look at houses," and I'm like, "But why? You have a house." He says, No. We are going to go look for a house for you." And I just looked at him weird, and he's like, "What are you not understanding?" And I'm like, "The part where you're coming." So it was weird. But like he's like, "Okay, so what do you have requirements for?" And I'm like, "Air conditioning." And he looks at me and he's like, "Anything else?" Nope, that'll about do it.
Internet?
I mean, I know some friends who wouldn't.
I require you to have internet.
Yes, you require me to have internet. But like, I'm pretty sure if push came to shove, I could deal without internet for a while. In fact, I might, just because of move-in weirdness. Hopefully, that's not going to be an issue. But in the event that it is, just be aware of that. Anyway, so we go looking around, and we did find a place, but some of these places we went to were rough. They were rough. One place we drove up to, and I was like, I could probably make it here. I'm not seeing any air conditioning, but like maybe I could do a window unit or something. It wouldn't be horrific. I wouldn't be happy, but I could do it here. And then we called and they told us what the price was, and we're like, "No, we can't do it here. That's stupid. Why would?" Yeah.
Why would anybody pay that for that?
And it was like, "We have one opening, and it will be $840 for a 500 square foot room with," and I'm like, "No air conditioning," and I'm like, "Y'all got problems here, and I'm not gonna help you solve them. This one's on you."
I got 99 problems, but you ain't one.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of in a weird place right now. I don't know. It's usually like one thing changes in life. By my understanding may be very flawed. It's usually like one thing changes, you kind of adapt to that, and then something else changes and you adapt to that, and then something else changes and you adapt to that. Not
so.
Hey, let's just turn your entire life upside down, and we can do this by next weekend, right?
So my boss, mentor, youth pastor, jack of all trades guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not a jack of all trades because he's pretty terrible at some things. But anyways, that guy that I mentioned a lot.
Yeah.
He actually when he turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say when he turned 18, he picked up all of his stuff, took all of his money out of his bank account, canceled his bank account, and moved to Louisiana.
Why?
Because he felt like it.
How'd it go?
He went there with absolutely no plans.
Mm-hmm.
He found a place to live, got a job, and lived there for like a year, I think he said. And then just moved back.
So I just heard
for no other reason, just to do it.
I just heard of another person who did something like that, but rather than Louisiana, they moved to New York City. And
that sounds a little bit more sensible.
No. With
well, other than the cost.
No. He moved from Michigan to New York City. Within 3 days of being there, he had been mugged twice, had everything stolen. He was homeless for like 9 weeks and didn't tell anybody. And finally got a job, which was not enough to actually pay housing, but he pretended like it was until the bills came due, and then he got kicked out of the housing that he had after he got the job, and he was there for about 4 months, and there was just no more he could do. It was just over. It was, yeah, he came back. He just picked up and went.
Interesting.
Yeah, just one of those odd little things.
Yeah, that's not something I could ever do.
Yeah, if I'm going to pick up and go somewhere, it's going to be the middle of the woods and nobody will know I'm there. Ever. I will disappear.
If I'm going to pick up and go somewhere, it's going to be to somebody like I would call you up and be like, "Hey, I'm moving to Michigan. Make room."
I mean, we could probably accommodate that. I am bunking with another, or do have another guy who I'm going to be sharing the room with, but we could make it work. You'd be welcome.
A room or an apartment?
Apartment. I mean, be fair.
Yeah, we have this one room, and we're going to share it.
We're doing this hostel style.
Bubba sleeps over there.
Well, he pretends to sleep. He really just stays up all night and watches.
And watches you sleep.
That got really creepy again. I'm sorry, Sass.
No, you're not.
That's true.
He knew what he was getting into when he clicked play and didn't stick it on 2 times speed because apparently he doesn't do that. He's too good for that.
Yeah. I just got distracted. I'm sorry.
I want to be distracted.
Okay. Be distracted.
What? Like, I mean, the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. But what?
Like, yeah, but it's one of those things where phrasing, where the periods, the punctuation is.
Yes, punctuation is key.
Yes. And the underlining really doesn't help.
Oh.
So, Sass. For clarification,
Hey, and look who signed it. So, we know it's not some big old fat hillbilly guy.
that almost makes it worse.
Oh.
Anyway, so there's a picture that just randomly came across my screen, as far as everyone will know, and it is a picture of the outside of some sort of house or business. I'm not really sure. And there's
I'm thinking about what context it could be, and I'm thinking some sort of a warehouse where it could be dangerous.
Again, not really helping the scenario. Now you're talking about people who are going down to the wharf, and nothing good ever happens down at the wharf. That's what. If someone ever says, "Hey, I got this warehouse down at the wharf. Would you like to go check it out?" Say no. This is good life advice. If you in Michigan, we have a wharf. We don't go there. We also have a place called Downriver. We don't go there either. It's just anything that's like down by. If you're in Kentucky and they say, "Hey, let's go down the holler," don't go down the holler. Don't go down the creek. Don't go down the mountain. Well, maybe go down the mountain because then you're out of Kentucky. But one of those, there's a bunch of things you just don't go down to. Anyway, get back on topic. There's a door with a little window next to it, and in the window is pasted this green sign, and it reads, "All girls." It's a great place to start. You're addressing people. But we're not really sure at this point if we're addressing the girls or if they're addressing people about girls. Find out. With long hair. Okay. This is how it seems to be addressing other people. By my understanding of the English language. Then we get to the next phrase. Must, underline, underlining must, be tied up.
Thank you.
Read it in fullness. All girls with long hair must be tied up. Thank you.
Thank you,
Debbie.
Debbie.
There is so much wrong with this sign. Not counting the warehouse, not counting the sketchy looking door, not counting the green paper, not counting Debbie. I've met some Debbies.
Me too.
It sounds like you've met different Debbies.
Oh, I have.
Okay.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you were excited about your Debbies, I was not.
Nope, I wasn't excited about them either. But yeah, all girls with long hair must be tied up. Thank you. That's just, at this point, you're not sure. There's a couple ways to interpret this. Number one, all girls with long hair must be tied up. They must be tied up. That's wrong. You should not tie up people. Another way to read this. All girls with long hair must tie up their long hair. It's another way you could, probably the way this is intended. Probably the worst way that you can think about this is that Debbie has long hair and is asking for the first one. Because she says thank you. And I'm really concerned about that.
Oh, you just had to go that one step further, didn't you?
You know, I did.
It's like, to be 100% honest. Yes, I did.
If my brain was already there was no going back at that point. So, just no. No. There are some things that don't need to be shared. That's one of them. I feel like we did an adequate job of describing that. I don't know what we were talking about before because that totally derailed everything.
It 100% did. Yes, I agree.
That was pretty special.
Let's just leave it at that.
Oh, that's a thing. Mm-hmm. I almost feel like I need like a palate cleanser after that because that just seems so wrong.
Do I need to go find you one?
No, I actually found one already.
Oh, okay.
Yep, it's quote unquote. Well, not quote unquote. It is the only perfect shot in movie history.
Boo!
Again, in the picture that you all watching SAS cannot see, it is the iconic scene where on a lone, dusty, bright, under the scorching western sun, a lone cowboy wearing no pants confronts an angry mob of gun-toting villains come out specifically to acquire his frog legs. It is, of course, that amazing scene in the original Muppet film where they have their big showdown. And it's terrifying, but it's great. I feel like my palate has been cleansed.
See here.
Oh, so earlier you had mentioned, yes?
What is this?
I don't know. I don't see your screen. I don't have to either. Ooh.
Is this the right movie? That's
Probably
the
not.
next question.
Most definitely not.
Is the right movie? Let's see here.
What are you doing?
Uh, I was going to quote the thing he says here,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't find the quote. I'm looking for it.
Mm.
Uh,
I don't know. This is what I don't know, actually.
oh,
Weird
maybe.
as that is.
What?
I don't know this quote.
Okay, so apparently, this quote is not the quote I thought it was.
Uh-oh.
He does say this quote, but it's not during that scene. I was going to say, what? No, no. They cannot watch this show from backstage. That's it. That's what we've been missing from the show. That's what we need. More frogs and dogs and bears and chickens and whatever. You're not going to watch the show. You're going to be in the show. Come on, everyone.
Very good.
Yeah.
I just realized something.
Yes.
And it's my fault.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about the Muppets again.
Yes, we are. Actually, when I was describing...
Mm-hmm. Yes?
when I was describing this podcast earlier today to Brooke, Bud, and Ducky, I described it as two guys talking about the Muppets and D&D.
I seriously think we should just start describing it as two guys, one podcast.
Please, no. Never say that again.
Oh, it's not too late to change the name.
It is too late to change the name. We're the Other Things Podcast. We talk about other things other than that thing. We never talk about that thing.
I don't know why I think it's so funny, but it's so great. Sass keeps commenting.
Wow. There has been a buried treasure right beside my base this entire time, and I'm just not finding it.
Rub. Let's say Sass keeps commenting to me after he watches them or while he's watching them, or both, usually both. That he agrees with what we're saying, or he likes this, or he agrees with that.
Uh-huh.
I think we've finally found the one thing that he's going to disagree with.
Is he though?
Probably. I don't know. We'll find out.
We will find out.
Of course, he could just say, "I agree with you about the part about me disagreeing with you."
And it has an item magnet in it. Nice. We were doing the D&D thing last Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
and he came into chat,
Uh-huh.
and then your video went live, and he commented in chat and said, he pressed the time me out button, and he said, I've got to go watch the podcast. Time me out. And so I
Wow.
did. I timed him out.
Priorities, man.
I know, right?
Nothing like live content except for things that are not live content.
Oh.
Today was a lot of fun. I didn't get to have any really good Kermit moments in today's game, but I'm adapting. I just killed everything today. That's all I did. Oh man. What are you into, Masters?
What do you mean?
You're splitting your attention. I can tell.
Oh,
I can
I'm
feel it.
well,
In the folds.
Minecraft is the thing that's been taking my attention all night. But I'm currently messaging Kuya that I found an item magnet like 100 blocks away from my in portal.
Those are thing in vanilla?
They are with data packs.
Okay. It's like I've been playing this all wrong. Again. We were talking earlier about voices. Well, you were talking briefly about voices earlier.
Hey, Mucky just texted.
I did this weird thing. I do a lot of weird things. On Thursday, I was driving home from church, and I'm part of the worship team there. I'm part of the worship team at every church I'm part of. Amazing how that works out. I don't know why. I don't sing very well. And they told me that they were going to be singing this song that I've sung before, but they're going to be singing it in a key that's about 2 keys higher than I can sing that song. That's a bit of a fun part. And so they said, well, just get in a lot of practice before Sunday and everything will work out. And I'm like, you have a great amount of faith. I don't. And so I'm driving back home. Yes?
I've heard you sing in octaves that you cannot sing in.
Mm-hmm.
Just going to leave that there.
Yep, you definitely have. It's going to happen tomorrow morning.
Oh, Lord.
Yep, and there's going to be a whole bunch of extra people there tomorrow because we're doing a combined service with another church. Fun times.
Is this the new church?
This is the new church, yeah.
You've already started going to the new church?
I've been going to the church every other Sunday since the beginning of the year.
Oh, so every other Sunday.
Yeah, the full-time transition happens the first week of September. So, yeah. But, so...
Wait, the first week of what?
September.
Okay, I thought you said school, and I was like, you're still counting your years based on school?
In Michigan, it's about the same thing. September, school starts same week. Anyway, so I'm driving back home, and it's an hour-long drive right currently. So I sing in the car normally, and I was singing this particular song like really high up there trying to hit these notes, and it just wasn't working out.
Uh-huh.
Well, when you do that for about a half an hour, your voice starts to give out on you. And when my voice starts to give out on me, it starts to sound rather differently. And as it started to sound rather differently, I started to realize kind of what my voice was starting to sound like. And then I started doing impressions with the voice that my voice was starting to sound like, which, oddly enough, was Johnny from the VHS tape that Kevin puts in the player to fool the people in both of the Home Alone films. And I've done an impression on him on my channel before, and it was much better when I was hoarse and couldn't hardly speak. But then I started doing this really odd thing where I'm like, okay, well, Johnny's in this film briefly, and he's really in another film. So I'm thinking that perhaps, because I'm pretty sure that, you know, the films that are presented in Home Alone, Angels with Filthy Souls and Angels with Even Filthier Souls, are not real films. I haven't looked it up, but I'm pretty confident that those are not like real full feature-length films. I'm pretty sure it's just like they took these things and cut them down and spliced them together just to be used in Home Alone. I could be wrong. I would actually be very impressed if those were actual films that were brought in. I'm not going to do the legwork on that until someday in the future when I get curious enough to actually do the legwork on that. But I'm probably not going to do it.
Today is not that day.
Today is not that day.
Well, right this second is not that day.
But while I was driving, I had this crazy thought. I'm like, hey, wait a second. What if I were to put in my mind and try and figure out how this would have played out if this were like a full film? And then I started doing this in-depth character acting in my car on the way back home as Johnny.
I do that.
And I'm like going through the whole thing, and I was really getting into it. And like, you know, he comes up from nothing. Go ahead.
I do that too.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'll have an idea of what if or like, I don't know, you know those comedy bits where they talk about like what the pilots say to one another while they're flying a plane.
Yeah.
And it's just this really comedic sketch where they go back and forth and pretend that they are the two pilots.
Mm-hmm.
I do that kind of stuff all the time.
There's a guy, probably the best one who did it was named Bob Newhart. He made his entire career off of doing that. And he really only ever plays one side, and you just kind of infer what the other person is saying.
Yeah.
But he does it so well. It's comedy gold every single time. My favorite ones are the bomb.
It cracks me up every time I do it too. So
yeah. My favorite ones for him are the bomb defusal and the bus driving school. If anyone wants to look up Bob Newhart and and get an update on those. They are literal, just comedy classic. They're golden. Anyway, so but I'm not doing that per se. I'm like doing the character study on this guy to be like, okay, so Johnny, right? He's from a rough, tough neighborhood. He's come from all this, and I'm just building this up and like, okay, so he sacrifices everything for all these years, and he's building up this empire to preserve this love that he has for this woman, and of course the woman is, you know, who I don't think we ever got a name for her. He's clearly at like the clear pinnacle of his rise to power, and then he discovers that the woman that he did it all for, that woman, she betrayed him. She'd been smooching with everybody, smooching with his brother, and I'm just doing this in the car on the way home, and probably not driving safely at all at this point, but because I'm not just.
But you don't remember because you tuned out at that point.
Because I'm not even.
Oh my goodness! Depth Strider 3 plus Dolphin's Grace is OP as all get out.
I didn't even know that Dolphin's Grace was a thing.
Yes, if you're swimming in an ocean, a dolphin and you're within a certain range of a dolphin, they will help you swim.
Mm-hmm.
And it already makes you fast. But if you have Depth Strider 3, oh my goodness, I was smacking into stuff.
Mm-hmm. You should also try it with a trident, or with whatever it's called.
I don't have a trident.
Oh, unfortunate.
Because the drowned that I've killed refused to give me one. And I've killed a lot of drowned. I have a drowned head and everything. But they won't give me a trident.
But anyway, I'm not driving safely at this point because I don't just say the words. I don't just do the voice. I'm full on emoting in my car with my hands flying all over the place, not on the steering wheel at all. And it's, you know, just like you do, right? Yeah. So it's like,
gotta get into character.
And then I got this weird thought. I'm like, hey, I used to do these voice acting monologues thing. What if I did a shift on that, and rather than doing voice acting monologues, I just did voice acted character studies? It'd be fun. Find some incredibly obscure character in films and just like a full breakdown on who they are and why they're there. That could be fun.
There would be 100% fanfic.
Huh?
There would be 100% fanfic.
Yeah. Like, we don't know what Johnny's backstory is. Like I said, he is a fake character in a fake movie that's used for comedic effect in a movie starring Macaulay Culkin. It's not given a lot of depth. He's kind of one-sided. I think everyone's a real human being and has a right to be presented as such. It would also probably be a bad thing because then my own writing tendencies would get into it, and those shouldn't get into anything, as we talked about before. A bad person. I don't know. There's a thought. Are you still with me, Masters? You seem,
I am. Well, Monkey just messaged me, and he's asking me about his character for the new campaign, and so I'm trying to respond.
Can I provide unhelpful suggestions?
Absolutely not.
Oh, I really want to provide unhelpful suggestions.
I know you do. That's why I said no.
What is the name again?
What, the name of the campaign?
The name of the character.
Oh. You just want me to say it on air, don't
you?
I
do.
Let me pull it up. But without looking at it, I'm going to say it's Mittens, Fuzzy Head.
No, it's Mittens, Fuzzy Bottom or something like that.
It's not Fuzzy Bottom. You kept saying that the other day.
Fuzz Bottom.
What it was.
Fluff Bottom? Fluffy? I don't know. Something like that.
Lord Mittens Fuzzbottom the Third.
There we go. Yes.
Yes. Yes, he's asking me character questions, and I am answering them.
That is something that is going to be hard to deal with in that continuing campaign, because some people don't want to. Okay, I may have a skewed perspective on how D&D is intended to be played, perceived, things like that. We're talking about D&D again, like we always do.
Yeah.
This is the Muppets and
D&D the
cast.
Muppets.
Somehow or
Exactly.
another, they always find their way in.
One way or another, they find themselves here once again.
But my thing is, and
I should also respond to Ducky. She messaged me a while ago.
kind of like the whole character study thing. I want to get into the character. I want to use this as like a narrative, creative point of expression. In terms of the character, not the character. Okay, so there's a series that was on YouTube that you sent me. I think one of them too, and then I watched the whole thing about the different D&D players. There's rules lawyers and noobs. I am the actor. That is what I do. I don't care what part I'm playing. I don't care anything. I will find a way to inject some sort of pathos into my character. Whether I make him be an incredibly tortured and morally ambiguous cleric who's supposed to be helping people, but in fact killed a whole bunch of people and may or may not have engaged in cannibalism, or if I'm just straight up playing Kermit the Frog. Just what I'm going to do. Even the first character that I played, that was my whole point. And I kept trying to make character-based decisions. That one time that you did that one shot with me and Kuya. Was there somebody else there, or was it just me and Kuya?
Nope, just you and Kuya.
Yeah, even that character, I'm like, why would this be a thing that my character is doing? He wouldn't do that at all. And I tried to
And
leave.
that's where you have to stop, because you have to you have to go into the game knowing that you have built a character that is going on an adventure to do whatever the adventure may be, no matter what the adventure is.
That's not
and
true.
that is something you did not do.
Where was that? There's something posted in the Mavericks earlier this was it last week? Yeah, it was last week, about I will find it. Yeah. So the Nick Fury beam, D&D players. This Save the Kingdom stuff is really boring. Let's start a magical goat farm instead. D&D master with 200 pages of notes. I recognize the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid decision, I've elected to ignore it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
6984.
So it's like, I am the guy who would come up with the idea to do the magical goat farm, as long as it was in character for my character. And I have no idea why you would think that would be in any way, shape, or form objectionable. Because who knows? Maybe he does have the goal in life to be a magical goat farmer. I think I've just got an idea for my next character.
You did not. You absolutely did not. I reject your reality and insert my own.
But I like to get into the character, and I'm having difficulty because Monkey is right there with me.
Yes.
He's right there with me. Other people, not so much.
My goodness. Kuya and Foxy. I think Ducky wants to, but she doesn't really know how to just yet. She's still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But Kuya and Foxy,
I think
they just practically refuse.
I think once Ducky figures out that her character is more than what it looks like, she will do immensely better.
What do you mean?
I mean, so in the introduction for characters, her introduction isn't really an introduction of who her character is or anything like that. It's a description. Shine is a fox-based shifter. When she is in her unshifted form, she has deep red hair and tends to shift in a shade and thickness as the seasons change. In her shifted form, she grows 6 inches in on her hair and head. Her eyes are piercing when you look into them. They don't there's no character there. It's a description of what she looks like. Everyone else, for the most part, actually gives a description of or an introduction, really, of who the character is. So mine, for instance, born in the lowest class of Grung society, but finding the stringent restrictions put upon him by his inborn station, Kieran set out to make some great accomplishments so he might be considered worthy of undergoing the Grung ascension ritual to enter a higher caste. After all, it's not easy being green. Like, there is a clear motivation. It tells you where he came from, where he's going to. It tells you why he's doing the things that he does, why he's there. It's an actual description of character. Even Monkey's one of Brock. I'm big, tall, dumb, and I like chocolate. I was once a soldier, but I left because I have a tendency of picking up things that are pretty but don't belong to me and forgetting to put them back down again. Accidentally. I'm not that bright. And I like chocolate. I mean, that's Brock, and that he doesn't need like this grandiose story. He can be simple. He can be very easily motivated by something simple like, I was walking by a ship one day. Man on ship yells down, "Oh, pick up heavy thing, put on ship." So I do. I've been here ever since. That's all he needs for a backstory, because that is his character, and Monkey's doing a great job of acting it out. But when you just describe what they look like, you kind of lose a lot of ability to, flush things out. And Kuya's he has a little bit of character in there, but he doesn't really play with that. He doesn't really have there's no motivation.
The little bit of character in there is things that I spitballed to him. Like I was asking him poignant questions. Okay, what do you want your character to be? Where did he come from? What are his motivations? Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, I was kind of thinking this. And I was like, okay, well, do this. This is your character. This is, maybe he did this, or maybe this happened, or maybe that happened. And he was like, oh, I like that. Okay. And then that's where he left it. He didn't touch it again.
Kuya seems like a min-maxer who's not willing to put in the work to be a min-maxer.
Yes. Yep.
He wants to be the world's greatest archer, but he doesn't want to know. Doesn't want to actually, like, even if we gave him like a bow and arrow in real life, he wouldn't want to put in the work to figure out how to shoot the bow and arrow in real life, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Why would I do this when I can just play a video game where it does it for me?
Yeah. So it's like,
why would I put in effort to be the best, show that I'm the best archer when I just am the best archer?
Like, I can say I am the best archer, and therefore I am. I think what. Okay, this is metagaming. You are the DM. I should not tell you what to do, but I think what would be really possibly a way to get Kuya to start role playing a little bit is in the upcoming campaign that we have, since he's just going to be taking Felix and importing him into that one. Is put another archer on the other side, like that's
better than him,
a captain of the big bad evil guy that's better than him, that he has to actually try to be a better archer than, and like have this guy just shooting his arrows out of the air, just to tick him off. I'm so glad Kuya's never going to hear this. Because like, as soon as if he was to hear this, he'd be like, you're the guy. Be out. You're the guy. But I mean, as having done a little bit on the DM side, that was what I was trying to get all of y'all to do, with some mixed results. I mean, the cat, he was a character. We were all happy to see that particular character die. But he was a character. He was
for different reasons, mind you.
Yes.
I was happy to see him die just so the cat jokes would stop.
We all had fun.
It's like, I'm literally carrying this team, but sure, let me die. That's fine.
Hey.
I'll go make another character.
Yep. and then that lasted like one session.
Not even a full session.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever actually took him into battle. Yes, we did.
We did.
Because that was the one session Kuya came in
Mm-hmm.
and
That was
that
the
started the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But
Yep.
but yeah, so it's like, you got to have some sort of driving force. You're not, I mean, unless you're literally going to make, and here's a little bit of the weeb thing that I engaged in briefly a couple years ago because I heard it was really good and I wanted to see into it and it was good and I watched it one time and I was done. There's a anime show on Netflix called One Punch Man, and
Yes.
like the whole thing there is One Punch Man. I forget his name. Doesn't really matter. This doesn't really matter to him either. Is like he is just so fed up and done with being a superhero because he's the best one that ever was, and number one, nobody acknowledges him for being the best, and even if it was, he doesn't really care because he's never actually met a real challenge. So it's like he's just doing it out of convenience because he can. Unless you're literally going to make that character and make that character be your character, and you have to do all the, and actually that would be a really tough one to play character-wise because then
There's no character development.
yeah, well, there is, but it's kind of a very nihilistic thing where like, well, there's nothing more for me to accomplish. And you kind of have to grow as a person as opposed to growing your stats, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, yeah, that's like an end game character that you would have at the beginning. It doesn't really work for D&D. But it's a thought perhaps someday. But in order to really portray that, in order for that to be the case, you gotta, that has to be like what you set out to do, not just be like, oh, well, I'm just going to be the best at this. He is a very interesting character precisely because everything that he tries to do to make himself be more prominent or to gain attention just falls flat on its face every single time. That's what makes him interesting, the fact that he is all-powerful but is not acknowledged as such. Everyone else just kind of brushes him off as being unimpressive. But when you just are super powerful for no reason whatsoever, you don't really have a character. You, not to reference a terrible film, but like it's kind of like the Kim Possible movie where they just really where they flubbed it. I could put up with a lot of the things that they did in that live action monstrosity, but like the one thing that they lost was that Kim Possible can do anything. And rather than make that be who she was, like, oh, well, that's just something that you do. And it's like, no. That is her character. She can do anything. And when she can't do something, she becomes better so that she can. Not like, oh, well,
Yes.
we just sunshine and rainbows it away and put some sort of MacGuffin in place so that it doesn't actually happen or just totally ignore that completely. But she actually does the work to overcome it so that she can do anything. And that is a great character.
Kim Possible.
Yeah.
She does the impossible.
Mm-hmm. And that's a great character because it allows for infinite development. That movie flubbed it because they're just like, well, that's not actually something that you have to work for. It's like, no, that's absolutely something you have to work for.
Yeah, it's the Goku scenario.
Yeah. Yeah.
The strongest man ever. Could totally beat up Superman. Don't at me.
I thought I was going to get... Never mind.
Huh?
Never mind. I was about to make another bad joke. Decided not to. But yeah, when... Like I said, it may be my skewed perspective on D&D. Because I like to be the actor. I like to engage with my character. I like my character to be as uncomfortable as this is to say. I want my character to be more interesting than I am because, well,
that's the entire reason you play D&D.
I know. I'm like, I'm not particularly interesting.
Yes, I want to be interesting.
That sounds like a cry for help.
Hey, you started it.
I know. And it's like, it's one of those great moments of like complete honesty where you realize something about yourself and you're like, Man, I'm more pathetic than I thought I was.
I'm telling Fang you said that.
Okay.
Not even Bramble, just Fang.
Just tell Fang that I'm more pathetic than I thought I was.
No, the people that play D&D are.
Oh. No, I
That's
didn't
essentially what
say.
you just said.
I said
That's essentially what you just
I
said.
said all of that in the context of my discovering that I want to be more interesting than I am, not all people. Because there are min-maxers and rules lawyers and everybody else who play it for those reasons. Those are not the reasons I play. I play because I'm boring.
I play D&D for the same reasons that I am single.
Low charisma score.
No, my charisma score is fine.
That's your charisma score.
Wis-
I'm talking about my charisma score.
It's my wisdom that needs some help.
My charisma is so low, I have electronic applications just confounding my every effort. I have outside forces working against me. Oh. Yeah. So it's just I just, I want the best possible experience for everybody involved. And I don't, and again, it's probably just my skewed perspective, but I don't feel necessarily like everybody else is getting the best the best possible experience because they're not.
And that's what I'm hoping that they will grow into it with the longer campaign.
Uh-huh.
The more comfortable they get with their character, the more easily they will be able to do the crazy stuff.
I'm going to have to figure out some way to make myself infinitely valuable and then let you kill me off.
Why?
Because that might...
Kuya would just love that.
I know, but it would at least elicit some sort of response. But if I'm like actually useful, and then they're like, oh, like if Kern had gone down today, that team would have suffered dramatically.
Yes, it would have.
And I'm not just saying that because I'm making myself to be some sort of grand D&D player. Kern has killed everything except one thing, I think, so far.
Yes, and that one thing was a rat.
Well, no, okay, there was one rat, and then I don't think I got...
Oh, yeah, Kuya killed a couple of the specters.
Yeah.
Not specters, but the spirits.
Yeah.
I don't know where I live. I have somehow forgotten my coordinates.
You do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I think you
do.
did that, like, our second episode. And you just wander around for 3 hours.
My memory is not... At least this time, I know where my stuff is posted, because I posted my coordinates in the Discord. 6,000, negative 9,000. Ooh, I am way off. I do not live in this direction. I need to go the other direction.
And I would walk 6,000 blocks, and I would walk 6,000 more. Something like that. I don't know. Someone did make that parody. That is not the right one.
Yes, I know.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Hey, I found my home thanks to previous notes.
So apparently it was not 6,000 blocks.
No.
But
I wasn't that far away.
Okay. But yeah, it's just...
I know the general gist of where I live. The precise coordinates sometimes confuse me. But it's rather easy. I live at 6,000. My bed is at 60, 49, negative 90, 64. So there's only 4 numbers I have to remember. I just got to remember which order they're in.
I have a friend who would have a lot of difficulty with that. Because he's dyslexic.
You mean like me?
No, I mean like a lot worse. Like a lot worse. You may be dyslexic, but you're not that dyslexic. He's... The only way he can read things is upside down. The only way he can read things is upside down.
I actually find that I read things better in a mirror.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, like, if I'm ever driving down the road and somebody has a sticker or something. Oh,
Mhm.
hello, skeleton that came out of nowhere. That has a sticker or something on the front of their car,
Uh-huh.
and it's not mirror reversed like you're supposed to be able to read it from the front of their car
Right.
through the mirror. I find that I can read that a lot quicker.
Hmm. That's interesting.
It is.
I can also read backwards and in the mirror, but not necessarily as my primary means of doing so. I have good mental elasticity, I think it's called. That's also why I can.
I mean, I don't make a habit of sticking a mirror up to books as I read them, but
Mm-hmm.
then again, I don't actually stick a mirror up to, or I don't actually read books.
I mean,
I'm working on that. I still haven't ordered a book yet, though.
well, if you do,
Though I have actually read. I have actually read a lot of the campaign that we're working on. So
I'll say
that's good.
if you were to do the holding it up to the mirror thing, you know what book you should read.
Black Mirror.
I was gonna say Through the Looking Glass, but that
Oh, that works too.
or just Alice in Wonderland, that works too. You know, Lewis Carroll,
Yeah.
classics.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I told you that I was getting another character commissioned by the same guy, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. So did I tell you what the character was going to be?
Nope.
I'm going to have him draw me as the Mad Hatter.
Nice. I think.
For my that I'm going to use everywhere.
You're,
But I told him specifically that I wanted it to be in such a way that I could crop it in different ways to use different parts of it for
Mhm.
different things, and
Right.
then also use it as a whole.
you're not what's the word I'm looking for here? I've lost my thought entirely.
I don't know. What word are you looking for?
No, you were just saying that you're gonna get this commission. It's gonna be used, Mad Hatter. I don't know. I've lost it. It's gone from me. I hate that.
I don't even know where you were trying to go with that.
Something I was gonna say you're not gonna do, but I don't remember what that thing was.
Obviously.
Oh, a mind is a terrible thing to lose.
Well, you have to have one to begin with to lose it.
That's fair.
I don't know whose joke that is.
I don't know.
I've heard it.
Yeah. I've heard it too. Don't remember where it was from.
Sass, let us know in the comments where that quote is from.
Thank you, Sass. The unheard third member who shows up. If this ever gets monetized, we're going to have to start sending him royalties.
Royalty checks. Luckily, that'll never happen.
Oh, man. I'm sorry, Sass, for not being more interesting
Yeah.
and making it so you can never collect your royalty checks.
Oh. Well, we've been going for 2.5 hours at this time before we ran out of things to say.
We're back at our normal stopping time, 2:25. Or whatever that was. Was it 2:25? I think it was 2:25.
I don't remember. I've slept since then.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I think everything else that could be talked about probably shouldn't be.
At least not while we're recording.
Yeah, that's probably fair. So that's probably a good place to cut it off before we just drop off entirely. I know that you were saying that you were about to collapse anyway before we started, so
Yeah. Well, not so much collapse as I was feeling tired, and I had the thought 4 times in a row. Like, literally, almost back to back. Ooh, it's getting late. I should go ahead and go to bed.
Mhm.
Wait, it's Saturday.
Yep.
Literally 4 times back to back, I had the exact same thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, I'm apparently going mad. Well, I was already mad. After all, we're all mad here. Roll credits.
Yeah. That is one thing I have to work on for whatever my next character ends up being. I need
Credits?
No, not credits. I mean, I get all the credit. Come on. but no, I don't know. Finding something to, because I'm not the DM, but I'm kind of trying to co-DM whether you want me to or not. So, I'm like, here's a narrative choice that may help out a little bit. Here, I'll craft my character around this so that you can try and force somebody to actually act their part out. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It's worth a shot. I'm also just having fun as Kermit. But with that, I think we can close it down. Thank you, Sass, for watching, and any other strange person who just skipped to the end. We
know who watches all the way to the end.
We do. We appreciate your kind patronage, attention, and all those wonderful things. Hope that
Patronage? We're getting paid?
No, we're not that. Not that kind of patronage. They're very patronizing.
Ah, that makes more sense.
Exactly. We look forward to talking in your general direction again in the future. Whether you pay attention to it or not is entirely up to you. We can't help that. So
we don't judge.
We do. Let's
You're
be
not
honest.
supposed to tell them.
Let's be honest. Half of our podcast is just judging things.
You're not wrong.
Usually ourselves.
Oh, speaking of, I do have one more thing.
Okay, one more thing.
Did you watch the newest episode of Muppets Now?
No, I didn't.
You haven't?
I haven't. I got busy yesterday.
You have?
I have not.
You have not. Okay.
I got busy yesterday.
Then never mind. We don't have anything to talk about.
Okay, I will be caught up next time we do this.
Yeah, then we'll have 2 episodes to talk about.
Yay! Oh wait, no.
Yay! Oh, my only complaint: this one didn't have Kermit in it.
Although I heard that I didn't watch it, but I heard that Walter does a Kermit impression.
Walter does a Kermit impression.
I might have that wrong, and that might be in the next episode. I apologize if I did a spoiler. I haven't seen this episode yet.
I don't remember anybody doing a Kermit impression.
It might be like a spoiler or something.
I mean, even when Kermit's on screen, he's not doing a Kermit impression. Let's be honest.
Oh, that's low. That's really low. I like it. Remember we were just talking about how this podcast is like
judging
90%
people?
judging. Oh, that reminds me. Did you ever watch X Play on G4 back in the day?
No.
It was a game review show. It was the most snarky, just mean-spirited video game review show of all time. It was great, and they did a musical episode, which was also great for all the wrong reasons. But they have this song right at the end, of course, where they're rating things to try and get themselves out of the gigantic hole they got themselves into, and they just start randomly judging things, just every possible thing. Like, I give this whole musical a 2, it's so nonsensical, it's kind of like the X-Play Mother Load. And of course then they're nice to the audience and say, well, I give our audience a 5 out of 5 for obedience for sitting through this entire episode. That's impressive, for sitting through this entire episode. And Sass, for sitting through this entire episode, you get a 5 out of 5. That is very impressive.
Especially since we don't actually give ratings around here.
That's true. Probably a good thing. It probably keeps us out of a lot of trouble.
Sass, you are good enough. You have earned your own rating. Congratulations.
Yes. And someday, well, no, you have not earned the royalties yet because we haven't earned any either.
No, let's be fair. He has earned the royalties. We just don't have it to pay them yet.
That's true. There we go. That's the better way of saying it. Think about that though, because we kind of started talking about some person like way off in the distant future after we have maybe possibly become famous, going back and listening to all these old episodes. At that point, he's just kind of like lost in the mix to the random viewer, and they don't actually know who Sasquatch is. And they're like, is he a real person? Is he really a thing? Is that? And then there's just like the lost, the mystery,
mythic Sasquatch that we keep talking to.
Yeah.
Oh. I kind of want to go set all of his comments to private now.
Oh, I'm so glad you don't have power to do that. But I do. We'll do it slowly as the years go by. A little here, a little there. Anyway, Mr. Masters, it has been fun.
Indeed.
I think we are done.
Yes.
I can't think of anything else that would rhyme with that. So I'm going to stop trying and say good night, everybody, or at least goodbye, because you may not be watching this at night, but we are recording it at night. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Somebody put that thing out of its misery.
Bang!
Thank you. You're going to add that in post, right?